So just to go over our agenda for today, we're going to do some introductions, which I have a cool little introduction piece that we're going to do. We're going to talk a lot about DOK, or depth of knowledge, which is one of the prime premise that the new GED is based off of. That's the foundational information, and you're kind of stuck with me doing that. But I'm going to later on hand it off to my colleagues Megan and Jamie, who give you really the meat of the topic and introduce you to some lessons that really help to get to these levels of depth of knowledge for students at multiple different levels. In part two, we'll go through how to create an environment that really helps with the critical thinking. So I know that I've spoken to a lot of teachers who are very concerned with the critical thinking aspect of the new GED and how do we get our students there. One thing that we like to promote is the idea of it's not something that we're completely teaching per se, but we're creating environments that it will happen within. So that's one way to think about that. And that's where we'll go. We'll talk a little bit about classroom management and questioning. We'll do some videos. Hopefully we'll have time for all the videos. And also just bring in your knowledge. So one thing that we like to acknowledge is that we are all teachers, but we're also all learners. And so we don't expect that since we're up here presenting that we have all of the information. So please feel free to ask questions, to give your own knowledge. And we definitely will have places in the presentation where you'll be able to do that. But also just feel free to kind of raise your hand, give some type of signal that you have something great to give to everybody. So what we're going to do, so the next one, is am going to just do this foundational piece. I want to make sure that we are all kind of trucking along at the same rhythm. So I know that some people know a lot about DOK, some people don't know so much. So I just wanted to kind of do a check and see how DOK and you, what has been your experience so far with depth of knowledge? Anyone?
No.
None? None? I just want to start this. Anyone? Has anyone read things online? Let me get some head nods if you've read things online, seen things online about it. Okay, do you have something?
We went to a Mockingbird education training.
Speak up a little bit.
We went to a Mockingbird education training.
Mockingbird
And
education?
they spent a day or so on DOK.
Okay, great. Okay, great. And has it helped your work? Have you figured out how it has how to interact with DOK with your job?
The training was 3 weeks ago, so I'm not sure if I've completely figured out, but I've tried to use a little more of it in the classroom.
Okay, great. Great. Has anyone had a chance to use any of it in the classroom? Other than you all get your chance later on to talk. Not so far? Okay, great. So this just lets me know where people are. This is really helpful, right? Activating prior knowledge. This is the general basis of the DOK, depth of knowledge, that is represented on the GED. So officially there's 4 levels, but because that 4th level is really about analysis and really some abstract ideas, it's almost impossible to test on that level with a test. It's projects, it's planning, and things of that nature. So that level is in here. So officially DOK has 4 levels. Just FYI as educators, just so you can know that it's not just 3 levels. So the levels these are the ways that I've seen them described. These are the ways that are helpful for me. We're going to talk a little bit more about what they mean exactly. But this is the kind of, if you get anything from this today, ways to think through your questions that you're asking your students, ways to think through how you're presenting your lesson plans. Think about trying to get to these types of questions on a consistent basis in your lesson plans. So are you doing things that help your students recall and kind of reproduce the information? Are you making sure that they understand the skills and the concepts that information is related to? And then are you helping them to use that skill and concept to really go through some strategic thinking and kind of formulating plans and formulating their answers?